Functional medicine isn't gonna like solve your problem. It's gonna put you in an amazing environment where everything's working in your favor.
You know, we do try to help people kind of find that light switch. When you go through really stressful intervals, you know, your body does change chemically. And that's what we want to do in functional medicine, is we really want to help you understand how your body's aging, why your body's aging, most importantly.
In the Olympics, 44% of them admit to taking some banned substance over the course of their training. What we're going to worry about, you have to go through like comprehensive health testing instead of drug testing. You are trying to create a place where people can like really be their best, really contribute, really find meaning in the work, connect with each other.
Empowering people to feel comfortable and confident to take their health in their hands. That's where traditional medicine sucks. And even worse off, if everything is okay or normal in the traditional mindset, they go back and they tell you you're crazy.
I can't tell you what you want and what you want to do, but if I can like help give you the tools for you to do that for yourself, like that's the win. Like that's the best. Dude, so I want to start with the story of how we met.
Yeah.
In 2022, I'm in the best shape of my life. Like I'm 39. And all of my training has like come together. You know, the strength, the mind muscle connection, the nutrition, the training age is just like coming together. And like from January until April, I'm like in my best. Like the photos I have of myself at that period of time, the best photos, I still use them to this day. They're my best photos in April. And I think part of it is I had a kid coming on the way, my first kid. So you just kind of, it's like, getting, you know, a wedding coming. It's like a big moment. You want to be your best. So like training, everything was just really dialed in. Yeah. And my son, Bao, came really early, like 3.5 months early, right? A full term's 40 weeks, came at 26 weeks, surprised, you know, out of nowhere. And you know, in that sort of a situation, you're just like, you're thrown on the edge of a cliff. You know, you are like, thinking back to it, like minute by minute, you're just kind of in panic, like all the time, because it's so delicate, dude. Like this baby is not supposed to be in the world. It is amazing that the technology exists that you can even keep babies alive that early. It's insane. I didn't know anything about it. So like there was the terror of not really understanding it, and the terror of like being a new father with this really delicate baby, and pretty much all day, every day, and all night, you're kind of terrified that something terrible is going to go wrong, of course. And I'm living this life for 6 months, you know? So like I put all the business stuff aside. I just dedicated all my focus to, bringing as much positive contribution to the situation as possible. Jess and I said, like, let's just try not to make things worse for anybody, for the nurses, to the doctors. Don't make it worse, you know? And you sacrifice a lot, and my health, sacrifice a lot of my health. And fortunately, Battle made it through. Totally healthy, awesome 3-year-old, no problems. I mean, it was very scary. There was a lot of blood transfusions, a lot of ventilator changes, a lot of, fear of infections, and, you know, it's terrifying, but he made it through. After that, we moved down here, and for about a year, this is about a year before we met, I felt like I had aged 20 years. Dude, in the 6 months, I don't even remember really, like, I don't remember anything about myself. But when I was coming out of it, that year, like my joints hurt worse. I was skinnier, paler. I was losing my hair. I was fearful of the gym as like a guy who loves the gym. Like I had a lot of resistance to like training hard, doing hard things. I could feel myself like pulling away. And, and this kind of like was getting worse and worse over the course of the year. I had a good friend, Andrew Codespody, great friend. I've known him 15 years. I've known him before, 5 years before we even opened our business. And I was doing a trip to New York, and he looked incredible. And I've known Spodes for a very long time. He's always been consistent in the gym. he lives a very exciting lifestyle. It has, a lot of indulgence, we'll say. And, he trains to basically offset that. But this was different. I saw him kind of in this new level. Like, he had pulled back in his drinking. He was getting his nutrition right. He was like focused on himself, and you could see it. Like, and I was like, dude, what's going on? And he basically like, he gave me your contact, and I reached out. And this was after I had actually reached out to a different company, a company down here in Austin that I just heard on a random podcast. And I did blood panel, and I met with them, and I was just very underwhelmed. Like, it was, they were like, okay, like you could use some more magnesium and, just get to sleep, a little bit earlier. And I was like, I don't think this is going to like do it. I'm not like feeling okay.
Yeah.
And, we met, I gave you the whole rundown, and you took me seriously. You took my situation seriously. You listened to me. You understood what was important for me in my life, not just like as a health outcome, but like who I needed to be for myself, for my family, for my business. And you took the process seriously. And, we started the process of looking at my indicators of how do we measure and get a better sense of whether we're on track for you to be the person that you want to be or not. And then what sort of treatments, interventions are going to help us support that process. And in 4 to 6 weeks, I was back. And then in maybe 3 months, I was like on the upward trajectory, as good, if not even better than where I was right before my son was born earlier. So like, first off, like the gratitude that I have for you and what you do, is through the roof, because like it's my life. This is a big deal. It's everything I do. My body is what I live and express everything through. If that's not right, if it's on the decline, it's a huge bummer. So like to have that sort of help and support, and look, as a guy who knows how to work out and knows how to eat better, right? Now I was doing those things, but it wasn't enough. Yeah. So one, the gratitude, and like two, like I wanted to give that story because I don't think a lot of people really know what functional health is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure like, you're used to like kind of doing this talk, but like, more than just like telling people like, here's what functional health is. Like, that's my story. Like, that's how it affected me. Like that's a big deal. And this is kind of a new thing.
Yeah.
And I there's not a lot of things I get really excited about, but where this functional health thing is going is something that gets me really excited. Yeah. Because it's very much aligned with kind of everything that I've dedicated my life to, but it's a whole different angle and a whole different world. Yeah.
And I love when people get to share their stories, because I hear stories like this all the time. But you know what? I think people sometimes get nervous to put themselves out there. And so for you to do that, thank you for that, because more people need to hear about these types of situations, because we all go through it. We all have our stressors. We all have our life. Our life is chaotic. We travel. We're stressed. We have kids. We have health issues. But a lot of people, I think, kind of hold that within, right? Because they're afraid to put it out there. They don't want to see that, people might see them as weak because they're feeling anxious or they're stressed or they're overwhelmed. So I appreciate you just truly sharing that story, because so many people struggle and they're afraid to take that first step to helping themselves be better.
Yeah. And there's this thing, where you can be doing everything right. There's going to be stuff that happens that's totally out of your control and totally unexpected. Because even, if you're traveling, you have a business, you have a lot, you can sort of find a balance there. But there's still going to be events. There's going to be these life events that come up that totally throw you off track. And then what are you going to do to get back on track? Maybe you know what to do when everything's normal and expected, but it's getting off track that really seems to mess people up. Like there's this idea that's kind of been going around that like age-related decline isn't like necessarily a given. It's not necessarily as tied to just your age as like maybe we think. It's tied a lot more to breaking the routine, like having things that have come up that kind of really throw you off track. And it's almost a guarantee. Like nobody's going to go through an entire lifetime without some bad things happen. It's going to throw you out of your rhythm. And then what are you going to do to get back on track? Like, are you just going to like say like, yeah, just tough it out, do what you used to do? I just don't think it's like your great strategy. Like we need some more here.
Yeah,
we have the technology.
We do, and that's the thing, and so to your point and to your question is like, well, what is functional medicine? I think it's this space that's kind of really poorly defined, which is what we're trying to change, right? We're trying to really help people understand what we do in the functional and integrative medicine space, because you could pull up Instagram or TikTok or any social media, and there's some biohacker talking about something, right? And as much as the information is good, there's also not good information, right? And it really makes it hard for people to understand like truly what we do. And that's kind of a hurdle that a lot of people can't get over, and it kind of brings on hesitancy, and that's where people they don't understand it, they don't feel comfortable and confident with it, and they don't jump into it. Whereas if we can really help people understand what we do, and by you sharing your story and how we can impact you, I think it really helps our industry kind of really grow and really help a lot of people be successful.
The traditional medical economy and the whole world around the pharmaceutical problem, the insurance problem, traditional medicine is a mess.
It is. It's a really big problem.
It's a mess. Like particularly given what we know, and I think that's where this whole functional medicine world, I think it's come out of the fact that like, hey, there's all of these amazing technologies, treatments, like we know so much, but this industry is so bloated, it's so inefficient, and it's so kind of messed up in its reliance on its separate self-interested parties. There's almost no saving it. So that it's like, it seems like it's almost at this point where like you kind of can't fix it. Like you're not going to undo this. Like it's a ball of yarn that has been tied and twisted up, like to the point, like there's no way. The only option is going to like, let's start a different thing kind of from scratch. And let's like go about this, like given everything we know right now. And if we were starting over, like what would this look like? Yeah.
And that's exactly kind of what we do is in the functional medicine space. It's a completely different than what you would get in traditional medicine setting, right? So to your point, like, well, what do we do? How do we work? Well, first we need to get to know you, right? And your body and your lifestyle and your genetic susceptibilities and your short-term goals and your long-term goals. When's the last time anybody's had a conversation with their primary care for more than 15 minutes? Probably never happens, right? So we're about relationships, right? And helping to get to know each other so that way we can both have a mutually beneficial symbiotic relationship. I want to help you, but I need you to help me to help you, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, right. You have to participate, right?
You have to participate, and healthcare has to be a two-way street. And the traditional medical model is not.
Yeah, just think about it. Like, they have the only interest that the doctors in a traditional medicine environment like have is like keeping you not sick. Like just not sick is the goal. Like, you kind of like, as long as you're not sick, like you're out of my office, so like I've done my job, right? Like what you're talking about is like, who do you want to be? What's going on? What's keeping you from being who you want to be? What's holding back? Like, and let's create a plan to get all these puzzle pieces in place for you to have all the tools and have the chemical and biological environment that's going to set you up to have a life you want to live and like be a person you want to be.
And that's it, because as we all know, and I'm sure you learned this with battle, it's like life is short and you got to make the most of it. And whatever your beliefs are regarding after death and whatever, that aside, like life is short and
we're here.
That's it. We're here and it's not slowing down. And if anything, it just speeds up.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you got to take that opportunity to be your best self. You can't settle, and just because traditional medicine tells you like this is how it's supposed to be, or this is normal, or this is just aging, that excuse doesn't hold up anymore because of what we can do really in the functional medicine space now.
It's incredible. I mean, just like, there's, I think like the thing I'm sure that you're, well informed in this, and it's a big part of your practice to have to believe, but like these GLP-1s, man, like these, this new technology that kind of like every time like anybody takes it, like reduces your appetite 30%, and you just eat less, and you lose a ton of weight. And like people, you can just kind of do that. Like it never before was there a thing that's like kind of as reliably and predictably and with the non-stimulant side effects, like something going to be that effective.
Yeah.
What's really interesting to me though is, when this came out, like all gym owners were like, run for the hills. Like it's over.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to come to gyms anymore. Like we're done. We're done.
Right.
Dude, we get so many new clients that have like gotten some momentum. They've lost some weight, but they don't feel great. Like it didn't fix the problem. Right. It helped for sure. Created some momentum, self-investment, empowerment. Like I set out to do this. It's going to help me do this. But they want to keep it going. It didn't get them to the result. And this is the thing that's like super curious to me is like functional medicine isn't going to like solve your problems.
Right.
It's going to put you in an amazing environment where everything's working in your favor.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But it's not going to get you to the goal. And like really like, the only person that can do that is you. Right. So like even us as gyms, like we're not going to like do the thing that's going to be like the meaningful, most important, powerful thing in your life, which is like, being a parent, being a partner, your contribution to your immediate friendship groups and like your greater society. Like the gym's great, but like putting you in a position where you feel confident, strong, empowered to where you can act more in your life. That's the result that we really want for people.
Yeah.
And we want to give them like the nudge, the tools of like, you can do it. Like here, you lift that weight, you can plant a tree, you can go make a friend. You can, you do great things.
Yeah. It's so important.
Yeah.
And a physical piece.
Yeah. And I think there's just so many people that don't have hope. And I think what this can do, like the big change, is it gives them hope.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, it's that small iota of like, oh, I can turn this around, or oh, like there's finally that light bulb that goes off, like, oh, I'm sick of feeling this way. And sometimes it takes a little bit of a nudge, like you said, or a catalyst. And we do try to help people kind of find that light switch, right? Maybe there is some physiological reason that your metabolism is slowing. Right? When you go through really stressful intervals, your body does change chemically, and it changes the efficiency and the pace at which your body can operate, right? So a lot of times there can be some biological reasons to why people get themselves to a place, but then it's always compounded, right? It's always life stressors and this happens and that happens, which accelerates those biological changes. And that's what we want to do in functional medicine is we really want to help you understand how your body's aging, why your body's aging, most importantly, right? And then from there, we can kind of put together what we feel is the best strategies to help you best support your body. And we are not a scope of healthcare that just gives pills or gives supplements or gives IVs or gives injections. It's equally, if not more important, to connect them to great facilitators like you who work on the lifestyle pieces. Right? Because I can throw every peptide or stem cell or hormone at you, but if you're not doing the work and you're not eating good and you're not being mobile and you're not strength training and you're not prioritizing sleep and you're not working on breath work and meditative strategies, and like I'm not going to have any success either.
Right.
It has to be this like multifactorial approach to really health optimization.
Yeah. it's tough for people to wrap their heads around all of it.
It is.
Right. And it's all this new, it's all new, right? So like, who do you trust?
Yes.
Like, who do you want to align with?
Yep.
Right. I mean, it's a little bit of the Wild West, and, you know, like, who even coined the term functional health, right? Like, who came up with that?
Right.
You know, there's a bunch of different ways that you can go about it, you know, like, where do you even start? Right. Like, and I do think people worry that it's like this huge, crazy investment to get started. And it's like, it's really not. Like, it's get your blood work, right? Like get a panel.
Yep.
Like that, I think the core of all of this, the thing that makes it just so much different than traditional health is like, let's do like a pretty wide spectrum blood panel. And then let's see, like, not what's sick. Let's see like what's not optimal for your goals.
Right.
And then let's like start taking some steps. And the steps, dude, it's very much like dependent on you and what you want, what your risk profile is, like, what, you know, how aggressive you want to be, how much time you have, you know.
So true.
But a lot of it's left up to you, right?
It is. I mean, my job as a functional medicine practitioner is to give you the information.
Yeah.
I'm not a salesperson. I'm not going to health dictator you to do this or follow my commands like traditional medicine does. It's about helping people understand and recognize where they're doing well, where they're doing okay, where they're doing poorly, and how best to help support these areas. It's all back onto the patient. And to your point, I think a lot of people get hesitant to reach out to facilities like ours because they think you have to be a multimillionaire to do it.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be like $10,000 to start,
Totally.
and like it.
And it couldn't be further from the truth.
No, it's
like
really
truly, it couldn't be. And again, you know, even if you take that initial step to get blood work done, and you're like hesitant because you think, oh, I don't have thousands of dollars to spend, it doesn't need to be that way. Like you said, like, let's focus in on the lifestyle factors that we can change, right? What are you eating? How are you exercising? How are you sleeping? There are such easy, tangible things that cost you nothing that, again, you just need the guidance on what's best for you and your body and your goals.
And having some feedback, a process of feedback of, like, let's say you don't even do any sort of supplementation or like chemical intervention, but you just sleep better, eat better. You're just getting feedback that like what you're doing is working. Look at all of these measurements that are improving. You're getting that objective feedback. That's a crucial like first step.
Correct.
Is like just get informed of what's going on in your body. That's a great idea. There's no downside to that.
Zero downside.
So how do you like? This is where I love like leading conversations. How do you think this is going to change like the greater society? Like where's this going to go? What do you think about as somebody who's in the world of it, sort of career?
Yeah.
Like you have to have an imaginative vision of like where this all leads.
Yeah, no, and we're really excited because, you know, for me, I'm trained traditionally, like I come from orthopedic surgery, like that is my traditional training, but I transitioned myself into functional medicine about 12 years ago. And just the transformation that I've seen, not even 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, it's exponential. And so to really think about the exponential change in the last 3, 5, 7, 10 years, imagine what it's going to be in 25, 50 years.
I know.
It's wild.
It is wild.
And so we really do get excited because I think the awareness is really starting to emerge and get out there. And, you know, even some things traditionally are starting to kind of recognize what we do. And that's really your telltale sign that there's going to be a shift.
Oh, yeah.
Right? When you hear some traditional institutions start talking about alternative methodologies or supplements or some of these other things, it's really hopeful.
Yeah.
And I do think that it's a field of medicine that's going to continue to evolve. I mean, I really hope and we really, really wish that it really does kind of become the mainstream model. It will take some time and some effort, but I think it can get there. But we look at things like, you know, we're here in Austin, right? So like tech, right? So like, how is AI going to influence how we grow, right? We're really excited about that. You know, what we've seen in the regenerative space for what we do with things like stem cells and exosomes and peptides, like we're really excited about those changes that are continuously happening. So we're super hopeful that really hopefully you're in my lifetime, there's some incredible changes that go.
I have to imagine, and things you wouldn't think of. Like, have you heard of the enhanced games idea?
No.
Have you heard of this?
No.
Just to get this. This is a great idea, by the way. And you know, Peter Thiel.
Yeah.
He's of course one of my old training clients, but he's I think one of the biggest backers of this, and I want to say that they've raised over $1 billion, which is wild in a race that you're like raising over $1 billion. But they're basically trying to take on the Olympics. I mean, that's a pretty big deal, right? Like, we're talking like this is you know, Elon trying to take on like the traditional combustion engine car manufacturing business. But dude, I think this is a great idea, and I think it might resonate with you. So here's a thought: that in the Olympics, I think after athletes aren't competing anymore, it's like 44% of them admit to taking some banned substance over the course of their training, right? And those are the ones that admit it, right? So like at least like half are like taking something that they aren't supposed to be according to the Olympic rules.
Yeah.
So like you could say like right there, this is failed. Like the whole like drug testing thing, it doesn't work. Like half of the time it doesn't work, right? So that it just doesn't work. It's a failure. So like if you're gonna redo it, like how might you do this different? And I think you kind of you flip the script, right? Like instead of the substances being like what's banned for competition, you make your health required for competition. So like we no longer ban anything like on its own. Like we're you know, no moral judgments around it. We're just not going to look at that. We're not worried about that. What we're going to worry about is like keeping your health within healthy ranges, right? That you have to go through like comprehensive health testing instead of drug testing. And you're kind of left to your own devices to do that. But like we're going to set like health parameters, and you kind of do what you want. And they're offering $1 million to anyone who breaks a world record. They've reinstated all of the world records that were taken away due to drug tests. So they basically reinstated those. And I think the hope is like, hey, like, you know, we could get Michael Phelps like in his mid 40s still breaking world records if they were allowed to like use the technologies available and be healthy individuals.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Very, very,
you know, and I think it's like really smart that like, look, this is going to make a lot of people really angry. And there's
for sure
definitely going to be a lot of like campaigning against this, you know, like the steroid games and like that. But I think people will not be able to resist watching it.
Yeah.
No, I don't, you know, like I want to see the best performances. If somebody's going to run the 100 faster than anybody has before, like I want to see that.
Yeah.
And then like, okay, like they're healthy individuals being tested for health, like where the Olympics isn't at all. They're not looking at your cholesterol. They're not looking at like, you know, your health profiles.
Yeah.
I think like an effect that this new way of looking at health is already affecting like the mainstream society and the way that we're looking at. And if something like that is a success, like that could be like a wild, basically like, yeah, like a support for this idea, for going about it this way.
It's a very cool concept. What about looking at it how, like, you know, you think about someone who's older who can't compete at the Olympic level, but
yeah,
how about the thought of like that person continuing to be athletic and take care of themselves? Why not put a positive spin on it? Why do that? Right? Let's encourage people to continue that, being mobile and physically fit. And like, I kind of look at something like this as like that type of perspective is like, oh, let's reward people for investing in their fitness and their athleticism, and it encourages people to continue to be physically fit and mobile.
Yeah.
So that's how it's got to be looked at.
So many people just like assume, of course, that decline is inevitable. It just gets worse.
Yeah.
Like things change. Yeah, but like that's a matter of perspective. Yeah. And it's also a matter of like how much responsibility you want to take in all this. And I do think like the self responsibility is a big part of this process as well. At some point, you have to say like I have to take charge of my life. Like I have some autonomy. I can make decisions. Like I'm going to like do something about this, right?
That's the most important principle, in my opinion.
Dude, it's a huge deal.
It's a huge deal. And again, it goes back to just empowering people to feel comfortable and confident to take their health in their hands.
Yeah.
That's where traditional medicine sucks. It doesn't instill that empowerment or that confidence to, we're going to do this together.
Yeah.
And that's what we focus on.
With them, we make the decisions. Come in for your 6-month checkup. We'll tell you if you need anything. You don't worry your little head or think about anything. We'll tell you what to do.
And even worse off, if everything is okay or normal in the traditional mindset, they go back and they tell you you're crazy, right?
Yeah.
Oh, your blood work looks normal. It's got to be in your head. Here's an antidepressant.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. Yeah.
The patient is not feeling well. There's got to be something going on. Support them. Try to dig deeper. Try to dive in a little bit more. Not just hand them an antidepressant and send them on their way and tell them they're crazy. How's that going to help them at all?
It's such a bummer.
It's so psychotic.
Yeah. I mean, and you can see like the system is kind of just led this way. Like we inherited it, right? But it's going to be people that like make the decision of how they want their healthcare to look. Yeah. What's amazing is we have options.
Yes.
That's unprecedented. We're gonna have so many options.
Tons of options nowadays.
Have you heard about these new? So there's new like muscle building drugs similar to like the GLP-1s that are in trials. Very excited for this. So like non-androgenic myostatin inhibition, actin A inhibition, I think are like kind of the two pathways.
Yep.
The preliminary results are remarkable. I mean, I think from what I remember, they had like 4 groups, right? And I think they did these on monkeys, some very similar to like, I think they are in human trials, but like the results that were published was like a study on primates. But they had 4 groups. They had a traditional like good diet, a calorie deficit diet set. And I think they were all on the calorie deficit diet. Then they had a group that had, GLP-1, group that had GLP-1 and myostatin inhibition, and then a group that had all of it, the GLP-1, myostatin, and actin A inhibition. And not to get like too deep in the weeds, basically the one that they threw all 3 at, and these are monkeys, these aren't resistance training, they're not like running or training or working out. Basically like lost the human equivalent to like 20 pounds of fat and gained like 5 pounds of muscle on a calorie deficit, seemingly with no androgenic side effects. So like no, overly messing with your hormones and throwing them like totally out of balance. But just from kind of acting on this, these muscle built-in genetic inhibitors that we have like in our DNA, and kind of releasing the throttle a little bit, releasing the safeguard. Whoa, like that, like the realization and kind of going back to what we were saying, I'm really excited about this. I'm actually not that worried about it. I think it actually is going to kind of help what we do, but for maybe a reason you don't expect. But like, I think people are basically going to be able to have the body they want. Like the whole idea of like, look, like you can look however you want. Like that problem, we've kind of solved that problem. I think the problem that's still going to be left is that like it's not necessarily going to change the way you feel, right? I experience this like, in my own life. I don't know how much I shared about like what brought me to New York, but I was a lawyer and I was having a midlife crisis at like 25, and I was like, I can't do this. My options were kind of growing more and more limited in time, and like kind of in a Hail Mary, I got on bodybuilding.com and I like did the whole like meal prep, like, I'm going to get myself in ridiculously good shape. I saw, the Pumping Iron documentary and heard Arnold Toll's story. And what clicked was like, this isn't really about bodybuilding. Like, this is about, he created a platform of attention that opened doors for him, right? He looked a certain way, got him into bodybuilding, but then acting, then politics. So like the way he looked gave him options, and that like connected with me. So it was like, if I can change the way I look. Like, I knew my way around the weight room. I played football. Like, I knew how to work out, but I never knew how to really like look like, I was in magazines or something like that. But I was like, if I could look like that, that'll open doors. And I did. Like, I looked like that, sent some pictures to GNC and Dick's Sports, and like started booking some like local campaigns for like sportswear and stuff like that. And that sent to a guy, Topher, in New York, that kind of ran Wilhelmina, and they took me on, and I worked as a fitness model for like 5 years. And I was dialed in. I was the guy, like, on the Men's Health magazine. Like, didn't feel great, didn't feel very good. Like, then, most of my life was just going to castings with other people that looked exactly the same. The training was very much like focused on how you look. A lot of training in front of the mirror, a lot of just like, what is this doing to my body? I felt very empty. Like, I had what I think, the world was promoting to everybody. Hey, you want this. This will solve your problems. This will give you what you want. It didn't really help me. And it wasn't until I got into training and then like helping people empower themselves. That was the thing for me. It's like, I can't tell you what you want and what you want to do, but if I can like help give you the tools for you to do that for yourself, like, that's the win. Like, that's the best. Yeah. Like, help get people in motion, help them build their confidence. Yeah. And the changes came, but like, when people were taking action into their lives and they were becoming who they wanted to be, they almost didn't notice. It was like a cool side effect, but it didn't really matter, because they were doing what they wanted to do. They were making decisions for themselves that they wanted to be able to make decisions, And I think, like, we're very close to like, look, you can have whatever body you want. Want to be skinny? Want to be big? Want to have all the muscles in the world? Want to look like your own man? You can have it, and everybody can. And I don't think it's gonna like solve the problem. I think that's like where it's gonna start getting interesting.
100%. It's that fine line. I mean, I think it really boils down to people being able to live the quality of life that they want. And it's more than just the aesthetic, right? I think a lot of people probably come to us because they're looking for the aesthetic change, and they're kind of hiding or truly not acknowledging the bigger problem, which is more that quality and the functionality piece.
I don't think they're like lying to themselves. I think like in their heads, that is like what's going to make them happy. Yeah. I mean, how would they know any different? Yeah. They're just looking at the world and like, well, people with bodies like this seem happy. Totally look like this, and I'm sad. So it must be because of that.
And again, this is probably a whole nother conversation for another day, but it's like we're brainwashed or trained to think that the physical look is healthy.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we're trained through social media and through marketing to think that if you have 6% body fat and huge muscles, like, that person's healthy.
Yeah.
When clearly, as you know,
I can tell you from firsthand experience,
it's the complete opposite.
As I was like continuing to get more insecure, in castings, looking at other guys that seemed like they had lower body fat, and like fighting harder to like bring mine down, like, things started falling apart in a big way. Stuff I couldn't explain. Like, I was getting boils. Like, my skin was like stopping. Like, it basically, like, I was just getting infected hairs like all over the lower body fat that I would get to. I mean, like, there's sexual dysfunction that comes along with it. You do not feel good. I mean, it does mess with your head. Like, it messes with the way that you classically associate hunger in your body, and it was not good. It was definitely not. I feel much more healthy now, as a 42-year-old father than when I probably looked the most healthy by the media standards, we'll say, or Instagram standards, right?
And that's kind of one of the things that we always talk about with people is it's about understanding the physiology within and making sure that is healthy and optimal, right? The facade will change as we age, right? And to your point, you can accomplish any physical goal that you want if you work hard enough for it, but it's that inside that gets neglected, right? And that's what people don't really appreciate about how they're aging or how their bodies are functioning or their overall health. It's the inside. And there's also that fine line where pushing yourself to that specific physical goal actually messes up your physiology. Oh, yeah. I'm sure you're well aware of like this concept of overtraining. It's a real thing.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're starving yourself and training so hard and you're not prioritizing sleep to get to that 6% body fat, imagine the impacts physiologically on your body when you have to live in that extreme.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that was kind of when I came to you, that's kind of what was happening, I think. Like, because it wasn't that, I found training and like doing hard things, it was harder, but I was still kind of forcing myself into it. Yeah. But I wasn't nothing good was coming out of it. There was this sort of like just keep throwing blunt force at this problem, and it wasn't getting any better. Like there wasn't there was something missing. And I think we saw this my blood work. From what I remember, my cortisol was just stuck. Like it was just at a remarkably high level. Like I remember like the chart that kind of came with the blood panel, like it was off the chart. It was literally like kind of off wherever they like turned back any sort of range. And like that was kind of like the number one thing that we tackled. Because if your stress levels, if your cortisol levels are chronically high and stuck, you can be doing all the things right. You could be training, you could have, like, I had a wonderful family, I had great social connection. I was training regularly, doing everything I was supposed to. I was eating well, wasn't drinking, didn't matter. Right? Like you can get into like a pattern with stress.
It's huge.
Where you can't, it doesn't work. It basically just throws a wrench in the gears.
100%. And that's one of the biggest things that we speak and we see so much, again, because all of our lives are hectic and crazy and chaotic, but high cortisol is the biggest disruptor of your metabolic function. So no matter what you're doing and how clean and fit you are and how healthy you're eating and how good you're sleeping, if your cortisol is up, your body does a couple things. It holds fat and it retains water. And it slows your metabolic rate down. So it's that trifecta of things that, again, no matter how much effort you're making on the lifestyle side, you're stuck. And the reason that happens is, again, when your cortisol's up, your body goes into this hyper-stimulated overdrive mode, this kind of pseudo fight or flight. And when you're in fight or flight, your body's like, okay, I gotta hydrate, so you retain water. I gotta fuel myself, so I'm gonna store fat, because fat is our body's best energy source.
And it even hoards like testosterone.
100%, right? Because it slows your metabolic rate down. Think of metabolic rate as not just how your body burns fat, but the pace at which all these chemical operations take place. And so when you're in fight or flight, your metabolism slows, so your body doesn't expend so many calories. And so your whole metabolic rate slows, meaning your hormone production slows, your digestive metabolism slows, your anabolic properties, your body's ability to build slows. Everything slows down.
And then imagine that you're turning the amplitude up in your activity and your training while that's happening at odds again.
And so you're burning the candle on both ends in that scenario.
That's an overtraining situation.
And that's where people get stuck.
Yeah. And that's where this very short and quick intervention really just turned the ship around.
Yeah, because you were doing already so many of the good things.
Yeah.
We just needed to get your physiology out of this adrenal distress point. And once we got you out of that adrenal distress point, and cortisol was lower, everything kicked back into gear.
Yeah.
And it can happen that quick.
Where do you see yourself evolving in all this? Like maybe like shifting a little bit more into, the entrepreneur and a business owner, so, a health and wellness service business owner in particular. What attracts you most to providing this this service and like running this business, having employees, like getting this to as many people as you can.
Yeah. Well, and I think you're probably in the same with this, but I'm a relationship driven person. I really love connecting with people, and not just connecting for people for economic growth, right? Again, it's all about relationships and connection, right? And so,
That's why you're down here, right?
it's truly why I'm down here, right? So, it's one of those things that, life is short. We have to have these great relationships with people, a sense of fulfillment, a sense of gratitude. So it is important there. I mean, I think it's a very fine line, as I'm sure you know, being a business owner and being in a service industry and wanting to help people be their best. You also need to take care of yourself, right? And that's a very fine line as an entrepreneur.
It's very easy to deprioritize that.
Very, very easy. But we're no good to our people if we're not well.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think there's that fine line there. And sometimes I struggle with it. And I'm sure you find yourself struggling with it too.
Things fall on your plate, So in entrepreneurship, things are thrown your way so much that you're not expecting. And you get very good at immediately reacting and resulting things. But your own, health and prioritizing your health, it's tough for that not to come, get placed on the back burner compared to like the thing that's requiring your attention right now.
Yeah.
Right. Where would you say that you've had to evolve, like areas that you've had to grow into that like maybe you didn't like, you weren't interested in maybe initially when you first got into the game?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. I mean, just being a business owner and being an entrepreneur, right? Like I'm medically trained.
Yeah.
I have no insight as to how to operate a business or what strategy is best or what strategy is going to not be good. So that was really my biggest learning curve. And it's funny because as a healthcare practitioner, my job always is to help people be their best self.
Yeah.
But then as a business owner, you also have to think about it from a business perspective, right? And how do we grow and how to be successful and how do we keep growing? And that for me was one of the things that I knew nothing about.
Yeah.
And it's a kind of learn as you go type of mentality. But I've really come to enjoy being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And continuing to kind of challenge myself in this whole other arena that I knew nothing about and have no formal training in.
What was it like when you first started?
Oh, man. So I was, we kind of grew this practice organically, right? So I was working in a full-time kind of medical position, but I knew that I wanted to be doing healthcare differently. So what ultimately ended up happening is I was working probably 50, 60 hours in a traditional medical kind of model, but I started seeing patients on nights and on weekends, and I was actually renting a room in an existing primary care's office. And I was literally just seeing patients at nights and on weekends, like truly 100, 120 hours a week.
You're kind of going like, you're like, I'm going to try doing this a little different. Like, was that kind of the idea? Like, this seems wrong. Like, I think I have some ideas of like how it could be better. I'm just going to like try it like on my time. Like,
that was it. Hours. That was it. Just a shot in the dark and say, hey, like I'm always wanted to try to do things differently, but I've been handcuffed because I've had to follow this model, right? And so, I literally rented a room.
Just you.
Trust me.
You had a room.
Literally.
You had some people.
I was renting a room.
How did you get the people? Like, were they just friends or like referrals or?
All of the above.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was friends. It was colleagues. Yeah. It was, it was anybody that I could get in the room.
Yeah.
Literally. And so we just continue to build on our momentum and success. And, then you hire a person to help with the admin side. Who was your
first hire?
Who was my first hire? My now wife.
No way.
Was my first hire.
Me too. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Jess she was like our 12th client. And then she was our first hire. So she was a client for 6 months.
Yep.
She was so consistent in the gym. She was so good, and she wanted to make a life choice that she became first trainer.
Oh man, I love that. Yeah, now my wife.
We shared that same story. That's wild.
That is crazy because that doesn't always happen.
Were you dating when she came on, or did you start dating after she came on?
We were dating, but she was working at a full-time job.
Okay.
While we were dating,
Yeah.
I started doing the side hustle thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I think I can keep myself afloat. Why don't you come on board and let's do it together?
Nice.
And it was me and her.
Wow. Does she still work with you?
Yeah.
Amazing.
She does.
How's that?
It's great. And again, that's probably a whole other conversation.
That's the whole thing that we can have, yeah. Because I work with my wife as well still now too. So.
Listen, it's an amazing thing. People always say, I could never work with my spouse. I could never work with family. I think it's the polar opposite. I could not envision our business being any different without her. You know, truly, like, who else do you trust? Who else can you have those hard conversations with? Who else can you just undoubtedly, unconditionally put your faith in? Like, nobody else.
And, you know, I really strategically thought about this. Like, you spend so much of your life, and my dad, like, I love my dad. My dad was an engineer, he worked like full days, like 8, 10, 12 hours at different times. And he's a wonderful man, but I never saw him, and it was such a bummer.
Yeah.
And I know he wishes that he could see us more. Like, I know he wishes that we were around at work.
Okay.
And I knew that entrepreneurship in particular is going to take a lot of my attention and time. And if I separated myself in that world and my family wasn't in it, I wasn't going to see my family, and I wasn't into that idea. I just didn't want to do it. I knew I'd look back on my life and regret it. Yeah. So the part of moving down here was like, we are going to do this together. Like, like Jess runs the whole remote side. I work on like the strategy, marketing, sales. I try to like implement the vision. But our son is like, as soon as we can put him to work, man, like he's like coming to work with us too. The dream is like to work as a family together on our business.
It's so funny you say that. I've already got my 12-year-old working.
Dude, it's
at the office.
That's amazing.
She's the chief, her title, her official, you'll like this. She's the chief happiness officer.
Sounds like she's well qualified. It's the best. Dude, that's amazing.
But I agree. Like, I don't think there's any way that I would be to the point that I'm at without her support and without that trust and that true faith and just, hey, we're going to do this together. We're not going to fail.
Yeah.
And so I'm like,
we're not going to quit.
We're not going to quit.
That's what I've come to realize in entrepreneurship is like, you actually like, you mess up or you make mistakes like all the time.
All the time.
But you only fail if you quit.
That's right.
Like, as long as you don't give up, you haven't failed. Failing is just giving up. So that's it. Like, as long as you can keep playing the game, you haven't failed. So you just made a mistake.
Yeah. So true. And you're going to make a lot of them.
Yeah, dude. You just get used to that. Like, learn to frame that different. You learned a lesson. How big is your company? How many employees do you have now?
Yeah, so right now, so in Florida, well, I guess kind of collectively, because we have a little thing in New York that we do. We've got a great affiliate site here in Austin. So we're growing. We've got a lot of kind of moving parts. We have a full physician training program.
Oh, wow.
So we train other doctors how to do functional and regenerative medicine. So we've got kind of multi things going on at the same time.
Yeah.
All said and done, we're a group of about 30.
Oh, what's it like being a leader too? I mean, like, that's a lot of people that look up to you, rely on you, look to you like emotionally for everywhere,
Yeah, for sure.
Where are we going? What's the vision?
It's a lot. I think
good hands.
So one of the things that we also kind of instilled, me and my wife, is that we come from very hostile working environments, very volatile. And so one of our company core philosophies is just really kind of connecting with our team, right? Because our business is no good without a great team.
It is the business.
That's right. And so we really make a big effort to make sure that we are really united with our team. And we really treat them like family. We do our best to treat them like family. And it's so important to help your business be successful, continue to grow. So you asked the question of like, how does that feel? Like we love it, right? Because these are not just our employees. These are like people we care about. And these are people that we want to grow. I mean, I have a couple nurses right now who are going to PA school and who are going to be nurse practitioners. And like, we love the opportunity for them to come and just shadow and observe and help them grow and help them be better and help them get to their professional goals. So we're a big group. Sometimes some mornings I wake up and it's like, I'm sure you have this. It's like, how did I get here?
Oh, yeah.
it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
But we're so grateful for it, and we really enjoy our team, and like it's a really great blessing to be able to have nice relationships with your team.
It sounds a lot like kind of how we feel about our employees. I will tell you, the challenge that I'm feeling, maybe you've got some insight on this too. When you have that philosophy and you have ambition and you want to grow, you want to help more people. It's tough to like not rock the boat too hard when you're, like you are trying to create a place where people can like really be their best, really contribute, really find meaning in the work, connect with each other, be on a mission together. If you're adding in people really quickly, if you're expanding really quickly, it's really hard to maintain the feeling of closeness. Do you think about that like in your trajectory timeline?
For sure. And that's a problem we've already had. And that's a lesson we've already learned is we grew so quickly, so fast that we made decisions that were not right. Yeah. It didn't fit into our core philosophies. And, we had issues with it. And so I think the key is recognizing that there is growth and thinking about kind of the high level strategies. Don't rush into the growth. That was one lesson I've had to learn. And as I've had to slow myself down.
And maybe like, don't grow just to grow. Correct. I've felt that when you bring the team in on the mission, that it's not like we're not growing for no reason. Like we're not growing just to like make money or like we're not growing just to like do a big exit. Like that's not the plan. We're on a mission here together. The mission is to help as many people as we can. And if we stay small, we won't be able to help a lot of people. So like I've found bringing them in on that vision helps. And whenever I'm in on that vision, they've recruited really well for me.
And that's it. I think you just nailed it, right? When you really take care of good people and you invest in them and you want to help them continue to grow and evolve, karma is going to bring a person back into your life.
Attract other people.
100%. Yeah. And good people. So when you hire someone and you really love them and they are a great staff member and team player, like people are around like people.
Yeah.
So for that one person, they've got 3 people in their circle that are the same and have the same core philosophies. And so by you taking that step and allowing that person to be better, they're going to just fill that cup right back up with people in their network.
Yeah, I've really found that to be the case, man. Like when you empower them, you tell them like this is what our mission is. This is what we're trying to do. Here's how you're a part of that. And now you have 30 people. Like, when you have 3, there's a much smaller network of influence. 30, you have a much bigger network of influence. How much do you think about, branding and, public communication and like getting the name out there, getting your name, R3's name out there? Like how much effort right now are you putting into visibility and trust just sort of with people in the public?
Yeah, it's a good question. And so again, for us in kind of functional medicine, it's just such an emerging field. Yeah. And everywhere you look, there's a new functional medicine place or IV place, or you can get peptides here online. It's hard. And so you do have to keep yourself out there and help people understand who you are and how you do it and your core philosophy. So there does have to be some kind of investment in that. Still to this day, thankfully, we really haven't had to invest much in marketing, which is great. We really do kind of let our success speak for itself, which is great. And we've been very fortunate in that sense. But you do have to continue to kind of put yourself out there. I'm sure it's no different in fitness.
Yeah, for us, it was the first 5 years was like kind of amazing because we were in a basement and we didn't have a sign. So like I knew nothing about sales. I knew nothing about marketing. I didn't want to. I didn't ever want to. Yeah. The thing was that COVID just kind of forced our hand. Like everybody moved. Yeah. Like everybody was gone. We built up this like amazing community. Like we had, like I remember over the first 5 months, like our first 5 years, we like slowly built up to our very first $100,000 month. It was such a big deal. We did it without any marketing and sales, and it was just like me and my business partner and my wife and my brother. It was a very like 6 people family, ran a great business, and like everybody referred. And then COVID happened and like everybody moved. It wasn't that we ran a bad business. We had to be closed and we had to basically restart. We had no control. And I didn't have like 5 years. I had like active leases and payroll and expenses. Right. So that was the moment that like, no, you need full control over getting customers. Like you need that skill because things will happen that you just need to be able to take the reins sometimes. And it's not that you have to throw away everything that you're doing and focusing on your product and like focusing on your customers, but like you do have to communicate. You have to be visible so that the people that would like you and do resonate with you, that they know who you are, you know?
It's so important.
You know, like just be, like let people research you, let people like vet you out, let people like see if you're like them. Yeah. Like they're looking for like-minded values,
They are.
like-minded people, to connect with and be part of their community.
They are. And then that's where, again, you have to just make sure that your core philosophies and your mission is really well defined and out there, because that's what people are looking for. They want to see if you guys are on the same wavelength, or if you believe in the same things, or how you can really kind of help them grow. Yeah. And so that does have to be communicated. So for us in healthcare, healthcare is one of those things, again, you can go get it anywhere, right? But how we do it is different. And that's kind of what we communicate to people.
Yeah.
Is our approach, our methodologies. That's kind of our differentiator. And I'm sure it's the similar.
But it feels like that with you. Everybody that I've referred, it's like referring a friend. It's like, hey, here's my friend, Joe. Here's Hannah. Like, hey, meet my friends. I'm just going to email you guys together. We're gonna, anything I need with you guys, I just email you like, you're one of my buddies, like one of my friends. It's how it feels. It doesn't feel like formal. It doesn't feel like I have to call a receptionist and like kind of go through his process and fill out this form. Yeah. The whole process feels like you're my friend.
And that's really how healthcare should be, right? It goes back to just relationships. And I can't help you be healthy and optimal if we're not communicating regularly. So that's how really healthcare needs to be delivered. Yeah. And that's really what we kind of strive for, is just that relationship building. Hey, you can call us or text us anytime. Let's continue to work together to help you get to your end goals.
Yeah, it makes all the difference. We're seeing that we're connected. Dude, thanks so much for doing this.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me. I mean, I love chatting with you and just everything that you're doing and all the good work that you guys do. And it's such a critical piece of how I can help people, is by you doing what you do. So super grateful for you and the opportunity.
We're on the same mission. We're doing it from different expertise. Like we're doing it from from a different skill set, but we're on the same path, doing it together. So I'm just so fortunate that I found you. And if you enjoyed this conversation with Joe, you're really gonna enjoy this video where Dan and I break down the latest training program at the Fort and kind of what we're doing in the gym, in our programming, in our training. Joe, thanks again, man.
Yeah,
appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you.